Hello, everyone. It's me. So this week it's not a scripted video. Partly because I have major writer's block right now, and also because I noticed that my last unscripted video, which was the Dark Souls Remastered debug menu, did fairly well. I thought I would go through my personal subjective favorite boss arenas. Let's get straight into it. So this is the first one. It's belongs to the grafted scion in Elden Ring, obviously. The reason I like this arena so much is because this looming statue of Marika, it's like at the beginning of the game, you probably wouldn't think much of it. I don't really know how to word it. The fact that this statue of Marika is here and it's the very, it's the very first thing you see. It's the point of interest in this arena. There's not really much else to look at. I just think it's such an excellent way of telling the player, like, this is who you should fear. This is who is responsible for everything that is going to happen to you after you leave this arena. This arena is just so intriguing when you actually take the time to look at it. And this iconography on the floor also is, I mean, it's Marika's rune. Is it Marika's rune or the Elden Beast's rune? Somebody please correct me on that. It's either Marika's or the Elden Beast's. But saying that now, I do think this belongs to the Elden Beast. There is so much being told to you. It's like, here's Marika, here's the Elden Beast. In a way, you kind of see the entire game at the very beginning of it. This statue of Marika and the grafted scion also as well is kind of telling in itself, because there's that whole sub-storyline of the grafting that happens in Stormvale Castle, you know? Another thing about this arena is oh, I just rolled off. There's no way. Okay, as I was saying, another reason I like this arena so much is because you can see kind of every point of interest that you would need to be interested in the early game. So that's the Cathedral of Maniceles right there, and I believe that is the Moonlight Altar? I might be wrong. But that is, this is the kind of end game of Rani's questline, which is really, really cool. And then right there, obviously, that is Liurnia of the Lakes. Over here, you have the Divine Tower of Liurnia, where you activate... Sorry, you don't activate anyone's rune here. That is actually where Rani is. Rani's body is over there. And then Stormvale itself is right here in front of you, which is kind of crazy how close it is to the very beginning of the game, you know? I already said this, but I like it so much because it's at the beginning of the game, and without you knowing, it's telling you so much about the game, even right down to like the gold color scheme, the gold leaves and the gold dirt on the floor. Like, everything is so telling. The tree is obviously as well, but as you can tell by the state of the tree, I am very much in the endgame. But yeah, like, everything about this arena is so well done. Like, it really and truly, I'm terrible with words, but this arena, when you actually look at it, is incredibly well done. From a well-designed game design in general, like, there's just so many small things that really, really make it. And the grafted scion, a lot of people think, well, maybe not a lot of people, but there are some people that don't understand why the grafted scion is here. But he's here most likely to, you know, dig up these graves, take some limbs, and, you know, go right back to Stormvale, which, by the way, is just right here. Like, he's not really out of place. The grafted scion definitely makes sense. But yes, this is my first favorite arena, probably one of my favorite arenas of all time, just because of how well this arena is done. Okay, so the second arena is Malenia's. Apologies for the dead malenia behind me. But I couldn't get the debug for Elden Ring to work, so I had to kill Malenia so I could show you this properly. But I really, 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 really love Malenia's boss room. This place is fantastic. My most absolute favorite part is the water on the floor. Yes, I am fat rolling. It's such an incredible touch because Malenia is blind. The Scarlet Rot has taken both of her eyes. And fun fact, actually, all of the siblings, Malenia, Mikola, and Messmer, are all visually impaired. Malenia is blind due to the Scarlet Rot literally rotting away her eyes. Messmer is blind in one eye because he pulls that eye out himself. Melina is visually impaired. My Melina lore is a bit rusty, but she is visually impaired. She only actively uses one eye. And obviously Mikola is blind because he removes both of his eyes to ascend to godhood properly. And most interestingly, when we fight Radahn, you'll note that Mikola, both of his eyes are closed. A god doesn't need eyes anyway. But yeah, that's my little rant out of the way on eyeballs. And if you notice in the cutscene, so Malenia is like asleep in the chair that's behind here. And she doesn't move until within the cutscene, the Tarnished makes some noise. And it's only then that Malenia turns her head and wakes up because she can't see, she can only hear. I like to think that the water is here as a touch both to the blind swordsman and him teaching Malenia what she knows, and also as a disability aid so she knows where we are in the arena, because most of the fight takes place in the center of the arena. TDLR, she's blind, so the water is here as a disability aid. And that's the only reason she can tell where we are. And the most obvious case would be after you've killed Malenia, you get this really cool Scarlet Annonia in the middle of the arena. A very, very cool arena indeed. Obviously not as visually striking as some other arenas within From Software, but definitely up there in like small details. This is the next arena I really like. This is obviously Metyr's arena. I really like this arena because I think it very clearly and neatly explains the more eldritch side of the fingers. You know, the fingers have their own god, and that's Metyr, the mother of fingers. I don't know, I don't really know how to explain it, but I really do think that Metyr's arena does a really, really great job of properly encapsulating otherworldliness of fingers. I don't know, just this arena just does such a great job of properly showcasing that fingers are eldritch horror and they're not like... Because in the base game you might conceive fingers to be holy because of the Golden Order and their allegiances to the Erd Tree, or you might consider them to be closely aligned with magic because of all the fingers, or hands, should I say, that are in Liurnia. But then in the DLC, fingers are very Aldrich. Like, there's no Aldrich? Dark Souls 3 Aldrich? But yeah, it's very Lovecraftian fingers. Is it Lovecraftian? I don't want to say anything that people are going to be like, okay, she's tripping balls. But I don't know, hopefully somebody understands me on this point, is that this arena does a really, really, really pinpoint perfect job of telling the player, hey, so remember those funny little hand enemies? Turns out they're their entirely own separate species. Like, they're not removed from someone's hand, someone's arm, should I say. They're like literally born and raised and die as hands and fingers. And also what's very interesting is when you kill Metyr, she doesn't die. She like goes back into this fingery void that she came from. The reason I like this arena so much is because it made me kind of understand what was going on with the hand and finger subplot line of the DLC. But again, I subjected them to be holy and ascended, and not so much their own entire separate being. I might be wrong, but I don't think the 2 fingers and the 3 fingers are even like of the same species as metyr and her fingers. I think they're like entirely separate, but I might be wrong on that. So the next arena I like is Messmer's arena. The most obvious feature would be this giant statue of Marika, which is completely unique, by the way. It's the only statue of Marika that looks like this in the game, where she's coddling a baby, which is Messmer, obviously. But also this room feels incredibly desolate, and it also visually looks like it's quite stuffy in here. It doesn't look like a well-ventilated, well-looked after room. You know, the floor is cracked and breaking, and before we open the doors, this room is completely pitch black. In the cutscene, these torches come to life, and so this image of Messmer sitting in this, you know, run down, stuffy, probably not very nice smelling room that's completely in the dark is kind of a sad image. I mean, Messmer is an incredibly sad character. He's a good-natured person who fell into ruin at the hands of his own mother. So if you needed any other reason to hate Marika, let Messmer be your #1 reason. I don't know. Basically, just the visual storytelling of this room is excellent. Very, very, very excellent indeed. It's very apparent that Messmer, through this room, through the placement of the room, through the visual storytelling of the room, you really, really get the idea that Messmer is and was incredibly lonely as a person, and was bound to his mother, whether he liked it or not. You know, I'm very much rambling, but really, really and truly, the storytelling through this room is just, it's so clear. It's so apparent. Tells you kind of everything you need to know about Messmer as a person. I wouldn't say that you can understand literally every single part of his lore through this room alone, but you definitely get the idea that if he was so evil, if this guy burnt down the Shadow Realm, if this guy hunted down horned creatures in his mother's name, why is he so hidden away at the top of this storehouse? Why is he sitting in the dark? Why is he in this stuffy room with no windows, and the door is locked? And you know, it really makes you think, this room, because you hear so much about Messmer, and the promotional material for this DLC was all about Messmer. And from the way that the game portrays him and the way that the promotional material for the DLC portrayed him, you would probably more expect him to be somewhere like the Divine Lion Dancers arena, or maybe even Radahn's arena, to be honest. You wouldn't expect him to be holed up in this dingy, dirty, like decrepit room at the top of a storehouse of all things, you know what I mean? So yeah, the storytelling of this room, especially when you piece together the lore bit by bit, is really well done. I think I've said it for every arena up until this point, but like truly, Miyazaki, his design team are just incredible. The way that they can do so much through something as simple as a boss arena that has to both be designed for quality of life purposes when it comes to the fight, but it also needs to tell you a story. They're truly like the best people on the market. I hate Marika. I'm a day one Marika hater. I've never liked her at all, but I will say that is quite the statue. So over to Dark Souls 2 now. Most obviously in Brightstone Cove, Tesladora, but most importantly, this is Freya's arena. Now, Freya's arena there's like nothing really going on, but the reason I like it so much is because of the good old dead dragon. Freya herself is so large that you spend most of your time kind of doing this like 1, 2, and then running around to her other head and going 1, 2, and you're not really looking at what's around you. I mean, why would you? It look just from here, it just looks like a big old cave. Like, it probably, well, to be honest, it might just be me. I'm incredibly stupid when it comes to noticing things. But I definitely didn't notice the dead dragon the first time. But similar to Messmer's arena, it's definitely something that you can appreciate after the fact. When Freya's big body is not in the way, you really you kind of understand how menacing Freya was. Like, Freya was not a good spider. She was very, very, very evil. Evil is a strong word. I think she was just mischievous, but she had enough power that she could bring this dragon down here herself, you know, and kill it herself with like no help. In the best way to describe it, it's kind of like a hidden secret. I don't know, like it probably sounds like absolute rubbish. You're probably thinking, what in the world is she going on about? But oh, my message has been rated. Thank you. I don't know, maybe I'm probably alone in this. I'm probably the only one that likes Freya's arena so much, but I just really like Freya anyway. That might be why, to be honest. I'm a huge Freya fan. I'm actually a huge fan of Brightstone Cove, Tesladora in general. I really like this area. A lot of people don't like Brightstone Cove, but all you need is a single torch and all of your worries go right out the window. But yeah, hopefully there's somebody out there that can understand what point I'm trying to convey, because I really am just awful with words. But it's a menacing arena. It's something that you can only, well, I could only appreciate after Freya was dead, because her sheer size almost makes it seem like she's hiding this dragon. It's fairly barren. And then when you turn around, there's this big old dead dragon, and you're like, oh boy. So whoever this old dragon is, I apologize for what Freya did to you, but I will say you make for an excellent set piece. Hello, Mr. Spider. On to Dark Souls 3 now. This is Gyundr's arena. The reason I like this arena so much is, firstly, it's very reminiscent of a Roman mausoleum. I think they're called mausoleums, where people would go and pay money to watch people fighting in the middle. And it's very like true to Gyundr's image. Like this, he is a fighter, he's a challenger. Anybody who seeks Filing Shrine has to go through Gyundr first, and you can only assume that all of these graves belong to the people that failed and fell at the hands of Gyundr, you know. But what's also interesting is that Dark Souls 3 is a very curious game. There's a lot of cut content from Dark Souls 3. You see the first part of it right here. So obviously in the middle of Gyundr's arena, there's this big old coffin that is way too large for Gyundr. Gyundr, he's a big guy, Gyundr, but he's not like this large, right? So originally it was Yorm who was meant to be the tutorial boss of Dark Souls 3. I'm not sure the significance of the tree. I don't know that reasoning. You could read it to both be a mausoleum, but from the kind of player POV, isn't it sort of like Dark Souls Remastered or Dark Souls 1 Filing Shrine coded-esque? You know, like, am I the only one that gets that vibe? It's, to me, I was like, oh, this look, I immediately got like Filing Shrine vibes, but that might just be me. But yeah, I don't think I've worded it very well. Again, I'm terrible at words, but this arena is just, it's just very curious, and I like curious things. Obviously, the Abyss Watchers. Anything involving Artorias, I'm incredibly like weak to, but genuinely this arena is just, it's magnificent. It really, really is just so good. Like you, again, going back to, Messmer's Arena, it's visual storytelling so perfectly done. Even through, most obviously through the cutscene, but again, for this arena, you understand that the Abyss Watchers, each and every Watcher is not their own being. They literally all share the exact same soul, and these dead bodies. You might think, oh, like who killed all of these Watchers? And it's not only until you put the pieces together that you realize, oh, like they killed each other. Like the Abyss Watchers seek evil of all kinds, and their soul became a threat, and so they didn't hesitate to attack themselves. And I'd probably say like each other, but in the case of the Abyss Watchers, they all share the exact same soul. That is the requirement to be an Abyss Watcher, is that I believe, don't take my word for Bible, my Dark Souls 3 lore is a bit rusty, but I believe you kind of have to give yourself up willingly, of course. Like they won't force you to then become an Abyss Watcher, and you all live as one exact entity. Really, without a doubt, like it's very, very hard to not glaze the Abyss Watchers. They are famously one of the most favorite bosses of any Souls player ever. Well, I hope so anyway. They definitely should be. The Abyss Watchers are probably my favorite lord, and also probably my favorite allegiance within the whole of Dark Souls. And all in all, I think it's such a great homage to Artorias' storyline, but that's not the point of this video. But yeah, really, when you get a kind of top-down view, you can really see the storytelling at work. It's not who killed them, it's not what killed them, it's not even why were they killed. It's literally just it's a suicide pact. This room is a suicide pact. They recognize themselves to be corrupted by the Abyss, and so they did not hesitate at all to take themselves out. And even when one single inconspicuous Abyss Watcher is like overtaken by this drive to kill, or whatever their intentions was, that drive to eradicate evil was so strong that it literally brings back the Abyss Watchers from the dead. A really, really cool arena, and I absolutely love how it's utilized within the fight too. Because I know what I notice when I watch Dark Souls 3 videos is that when people get to the Abyss Watchers, they're a bit confused. They're like, hey, why is this guy getting up and attacking the boss for me? Like, that's a regular pattern I notice. And so that's why it's even cooler when you start making the connection of the Abyss Watchers being one soul, completely interlinked, and their want to eradicate the Abyss is so powerful that it literally has the power to bring them back from the dead. But yeah, I'm basically repeating myself over and over again, but I kind of just want to properly convey, one, just how much I absolutely glaze the fuck out of anything that has even a slight relation to Artorias, but also how impressive visual storytelling is in this room. But yeah, absolutely adore this arena very, very much. That's all I have to share. Very different kind of video, but I did notice that some people liked my... Is casual the right word? I don't know. Casual video that I did, so I thought I'd do another. This video was mostly about Elden Ring. I have been getting back into Elden Ring a lot lately, obviously, because Night Rain is coming out very, very soon. I'm so excited for Night Rain, like you wouldn't understand. But there was a bonus Dark Souls action in there. Please let me know what your favorite boss arenas are. or like even just in general your favorite areas. Like I really like the Royal Wood from Dark Souls 1 or Dark Souls Remastered, but that's not a boss arena. And you're probably wondering, there's no way she doesn't include Artorias' arena. I do like Artorias, I love Artorias to bits, but his arena is just pretty bare and barren. If you would like to, you could also join my Discord. I'm very, very close to 300 members, which is super crazy. We have lots and lots of channels relating to the different Dark Souls games, so you can spill all the beans in any of those. Praise the sun, everybody.
Don't you dare let yourself go hollow, lest my time spent on you be wasted.